Hey, it's Chris Aiken from the Classic Metal Show. Most people know me as the foul-mouthed shock jock from the Classic Metal Show, or the no-nonsense heavy metal critic from pitriff.com. Now you get to learn the other side. My first book, Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness, comes out on January 13th in paperback and digital formats on Amazon and iTunes. It details my real-world emotional struggles over a year that included a divorce after a quarter-century of marriage and the death of my father. It profiles things I did right, as well as a bevy of things that I did wrong with the help of alcohol, and how I found my way out of the muck of the emotional state that almost saw me commit suicide. Pre-order your copy of Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness today at www.chrisaikenbooks.com and get in touch with the more fallible side of me, Chris Aiken. Sounds happy, huh?
It's Exodus right here on your Classic Metal Show from the Shovel-Headed Kill Machine. That's 44 Magnum Opus for Mr. MOL in the chat room. Without looking, Chris.
Yes?
What year?
Shovel-Headed Kill Machine?
Don't look.
2006.
5.
Close.
Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
9 years ago.
Because I know Tempo was 2004. Guessing 2 years.
I remember when that came out and we were discussing it on the show, what a brutal title that was to an album.
Sure.
Shovel-Headed Kill Machine.
That's right, pal.
9 years ago.
Wow. Amazing, isn't it?
Where does the time go? I mean, to me, thinking back when we were discussing it on the show, it just seemed like last year.
Yeah, it does. It does all sort of blur together, doesn't it?
9 years.
Shit, dude, we've had Volbeat for fucking 5 or 6.
Yeah. But I just remember when that CD came out that we thought it was like one of the most brutal records out there.
Right.
Shovel-Headed Kill Machine.
It is brutal.
But that's for MOL. And then just before that, we heard some Thunder for You.
Right.
Which is a band that I turned you on to.
Did, and now I'm obsessed with them. Love them.
I love Thunder, man. I like those guys. It's too bad that they decided to call it a day.
Sorta. But they still do, like, shows every year. So
oh, really? They sort of do, like, one-offs or something?
Yeah, they have, like, an annual Christmas thing that they do. And which always leads you to think, well, if they're hooking up, then eventually they'll do a record.
Sure.
So they're probably not as dead as we think.
Right. Well, it's kind of like what Metal Church did.
Right.
You know, they supposedly called it a day, but when we had Kurt Vanderhoof on the show, he was just like, yeah, we should have called it a hiatus.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. So these guys, it's unfortunate that the music business is the way that it is, that these guys can't make a living.
Why not?
But why? Well, the only way that they could make a living is if they perform live, but making recordings just doesn't do it.
No, not anymore.
There's no money in that.
Nope.
So you got to be like what LA Guns does. LA Guns tours incessantly, and that's what they make their living off of is merchandise and tours.
See, I think I'd be looking for another job.
Well, you know, some of those guys do have other jobs. They do, they do production, or they do session work, or, you know, they have some kind of other business that they do, but certainly they can't make their money off their music.
Right.
And it's a shame because some of these bands really just kick ass when they get together because they do have that chemistry and they do well at it, but there's no money in it.
Yeah, it is a shame that it is that way, but that is the way it is.
And it's like what we do here on the show. You and I know for a fact that what we do is pretty damn good, but there's no money in it.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, could we make some money with it? Yeah, but we'd have to change it.
Yeah, but we couldn't make a living off of it.
If we changed it a lot.
Yeah, but seriously, though, when you think about it, without the full commercial sponsorship, we're not going to make any money.
No, well, that's what I mean by changing it a lot. We'd have to sell our souls to
but then it wouldn't be the same show, and it wouldn't be what people wanted to begin with. So,
right.
Speaking of which... And I haven't followed these guys in a while only because of just the inconvenience of it. What's going on with Opie and Anthony these days? Are they still hanging in there? Do they still have a contract? Are they still making money? Are they still in satellite radio? What's going on? Or have you even followed them?
No, I follow them enough. They're still there. They're still doing their show. It's fucking neutered. You know, they don't do any bits anymore. It's just literally reading the news at this point. And, you know, and some character bullshit. They still have some of their dumbass characters. You know, Bobo and Stalker Patty was in there last week and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so you do listen.
Everyone, I don't listen every single week. Or like every show, I mean, like I used to. But I, at least once, twice a week, I give it a listen.
Okay.
I mean, they're still good. They've been pretty good lately. You know, the times that I have listened, they've been pretty good. But I don't know. I have not been really overwhelmed with O&A since they were forced out of the XM studios over to Sirius.
Yeah, right.
That's when it really went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, speaking of satellite radio, and I haven't checked the financials lately, where does satellite radio stand right now on a financial basis? Because the last time I checked, they were literally it's $1 billion. It's with a B,
right,
in the hole. $4 billion in the hole.
Right. I don't know exactly where they are with that, but I know they have a new investment company, Liberty Media.
Okay.
And they're allegedly taking it over, and they've been slowly but surely dumping a lot of the old people in the executive offices of it. And there's all kinds of rumors and talk what they're going to do with it, that it might change completely, that it might not, that they might keep some middle ground. Who knows? The big keeper for satellite radio is in another year or two, whenever it is that Stern's contract is up.
Okay.
When Stern's contract's up, he's not going to renew. And when he doesn't renew, then they're going to have a real fucking problem. Because as bad as his shitbag show is these days, they're still going to lose 1 million subscribers from it.
Right.
And that's going to be the end.
And the thing is that it seems like every other week in the email I get the notice that, hey, your XM is on in your car.
Right.
Tune in and come on back. I haven't subscribed to XM. I loved XM. When I bought my new car in 06,
yeah,
it came with XM radio, and I subscribed for like 4 years.
Sure.
And then it started getting shitty, and then they jacked the prices up. It was like $100 and what was it? It was like what was it? $180 a year.
Yeah, it was great. Well, you remember, dude, when I signed up, it was $7 a radio.
Right.
And I had 7 radios. I was spending $50 a month.
Right.
And then when I jumped off was when it got to be $100 a radio. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah. So I know that in my car it was like $180 for the year.
Yeah.
And that's when I jumped out.
Yeah, well, I mean, and for guys like me and you, we get all the music anyway, so
sure.
we really don't get anything.
But I didn't listen for the music. I listened to O&A, and I listened to what's the afternoon?
Fez?
Yeah, Ron and Fez. I listened to that. But I didn't listen. I did listen to the Boneyard now and again. Mm-hmm. And I listened to that Raw Dog Comedy Radio.
Sure.
I listened to that. But I didn't really listen to the music channels.
Well,
but it wasn't worth $180 a year for me to keep it, so I just didn't keep it anymore.
Well, and especially now, where O&A aside, O&A is the only reason to have it for me, personally. And I only have it because my friend Scott has a subscription for his car, and I just, I piggybacked his account for $3 a year, or $3 a month rather.
Right.
For the online listening of it, and I listen to it on my iPad. But, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have it.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Because the reality is now, even with the comedy and stuff like that, you can just fucking listen to Pandora or Slacker, and you can get all that shit the same.
Right.
So why pay for it? It's not good.
I agree with that. So I haven't had satellite in my car in years.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like every other month or so I'm getting a notice, hey, we turned your satellite radio back on and you can listen and we want you back as a customer and all this nonsense. And even when it's free, I still don't listen to it.
Yeah, I mean it's not really even the any of the music channels. Now you got fucking some douchebag DJ fucking in between every two songs, and that's no good.
Yeah, and why is the Boneyard Ozzy's Boneyard? Why is that?
Because Sirius rather is one of those fucking places that thinks that big name equals big listenership.
And it doesn't do a thing for it. You're listening to Ozzy's Boneyard. Well, okay.
And they play a couple more Ozzy tunes than they used to.
So
Who
what?
gives a fuck?
So what?
Yeah, it's not worth it at all.
And then I hear Jim Norton, doing his own little, music show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, Jim, I really like you as a comedian. I think you're hysterical and funny, but you really don't add anything to a music show.
No, not at all.
And I don't mean to be mean about that, but that's just fact.
And he's such a fucking Black Sabbath honk.
Yeah.
That it's just like, all right, we get it. You like fucking Sabbath.
Sure.
Move on.
And then Jim Florentine does a music show.
Yeah, and I have no interest in
it's
that.
Like, okay, so what?
Yeah.
All
we
right.
get it. These guys like metal. Good for them.
Yeah, we like metal. So what?
Yeah. Should we have a show?
Well, we do.
I mean, that we're on playing songs in between every 2-minute break.
Right.
Should we do that too? Because we know a lot about that stuff.
Sure. All right.
So yeah, I mean, satellite is what it is. It'll go away eventually.
Yeah, and that's sad because when it came out, I thought that was the greatest thing, and I'm going to use an old term here, since sliced bread.
Yeah.
It
was good when it started, but they just fucking ruined it. They commercialized it and ruined it.
Everything gets ruined with money.
Yep, and they didn't waste any time in ruining it. XM was so fucking good those first couple of years.
I loved it.
I loved it. I got to where I wasn't watching TV. I was only listening to music or comedy or O&A or whatever. And slowly but surely they made it to where I didn't want to listen to it at all.
Right. Well, as I was saying last week on the show, I had to travel for my job last week.
Mm-hmm.
And the rental car that I had the Bluetooth setup where it had the whole console thing built into the dash with the Bluetooth and
sure.
And I listened to the CMS radio network through the iPhone because it was linked to the Bluetooth setup in the dash.
Right.
I listened to the CMS radio network without dropping it once all the way across Missouri and into Illinois and stuff.
Sure.
And that was a cool listen.
Yeah, it is a good listen. I mean, it's not perfect, and it for whatever reason it likes to hang up for an extra 10 seconds.
And I don't get that because that server has 9 meg or 9 gig memory in it.
It's just something about the length of the songs are too short. The IDs, I should just take them out.
I like the fact that the IDs are there, but it does hang up now and again.
Hangs up on the IDs, and if I take the IDs out, it'll run perfect.
Yeah.
Or if I just fuse them into all the songs, like if I take all the Thunder songs and fuse in the Thunder ID on them or whatever.
That's a arduous task right there.
Yeah, not doing that. We need an intern for that.
I don't blame you for that. But anyway, regardless of that, people are listening to other stuff, and they're not paying for satellite radio.
And that's why it went away, because then it only relies on the content, and they won't let their content providers loose to do what they should be doing.
Sure.
So, and then the big name, he fucking sucks. I mean, I don't know when the last time you listened to Stern was.
It's literally been years.
Well, you have missed nothing. His show is just a shit fest. It's fucking really bad. You could tell he doesn't want to do it. He's only in it to collect his check. He only does 3 days a week.
Only 3 now.
Yeah, he does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, because I remember Friday was, I'm taking Friday off, and we're going to do a best of on Friday. So now he only does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, and sometimes he doesn't show up for Monday if he's doing Dancing with the Stars. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a dead medium. I mean, I still enjoy O&A, and hopefully they won't sign another contract and they'll go to a pay-per-podcast.
Sure.
That's what I hope they do, is just do like a live stream with a podcast type of thing. Kind of like what we do.
Right.
only make it a pay service, and I'll subscribe to that.
Right.
I'll subscribe to that in a minute.
All right. Well, everything changes as the saying goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of things that change and don't change,
yes,
I know that there's going to be a lot of chatter about this, but it was announced this week that that Kiss and Def Leppard are touring together this summer.
Yeehaw!
I haven't seen Def Leppard live since I think they did. Well, when was the Journey Def Leppard tour? Was that 2006?
5 or 6, yeah, with Scott Soto on vocals.
Yeah. So that was the last time I saw them.
Me too. In fact, I walked out on them.
Right. But apparently the tickets for, like pavilion seating is ridiculously priced once again.
Mm-hmm.
$196.
Yeah, that's what it is here in Cleveland.
Well, that's probably what it is in any pavilion around the country.
I'm sure it's right in the same realm. Here in Cleveland at Blossom Music Center, which is an outdoor place, you can sit on the lawn for $30 if you want to not see and have shit sound. But if you want to actually see and be fairly close and have good sound, $196.
So $100 a band.
200. Oh yeah.
Per band.
Right.
Yeah. So $200 for a ticket.
Yeah.
And that's just the average ticket. That's not like meet and greet or nothing. That's just that's just a seat. So if you got a ticket in the pavilion to go see Kiss and Def Leppard and you bring your significant other or whatever, it's going to be a $400 show just for the tickets only.
Yeah, and then if you have dinner or anything, it's fucking, $500 to $600.
Yeah. Who in the world can afford, I mean, even at the cheapest amount, say just one drink per and parking, because sometimes they charge for parking depending on where you go.
Right.
We're looking at a $300 bill here.
For a single person.
No, it's $500.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, $500 for a couple.
$500 a couple to go.
Oh my God.
That's like our friend Jack Antonio was telling me that he was thinking about taking his kids for their first concert. He has little kids that like Kiss. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to take them. I was like, how much fucking money do you make?
Yeah.
Because I was like, Jesus, wife and kids, you're talking about $1,000. Fuck that.
Yeah. $500 for a couple to go and have decent seats.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
And then on top of that,
right?
Granted, Motley Crue took the crown with the whole meet and greet thing at what, $4,000?
Yeah.
VIP packages for Kiss meet and greet, they're not as outrageous as Motley Crue.
No.
But over and above your ticket price.
Mm-hmm. No, the ticket is, I think the ticket
is that's included?
Your ticket is included in
okay, $1,250.
What a fucking bargain.
Per person.
Yeah, but you get a free acoustic set.
But it's not free.
Well, it's not free, but
you're paying for that.
Yeah, but the other scrubs don't get it.
Yeah. So if you want to meet Kiss, and is there any guarantee that you're going to meet Gene or Paul?
Not that I saw. It just said meet members of Kiss.
Members of.
I got to think for $1,200 you're going to meet Gene and Paul.
Okay. $1,250.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness to Kiss, and Lord knows I want to shit on their fucking face when I see this goddamn thing. But in fairness, every meet and greet photo I've ever seen of Kiss has been Gene and Paul have been part of it.
Okay, well, at least you get the two main people.
Well, you should at $600 each.
Well, look at Motley Crue. You're not getting Tommy Lee at $4,000.
Yeah, well, that's because you're an idiot if you spend it.
Well, regardless. But Def Leppard's being a little more kind with their meet and greet package. It's only $750.
It's only $750 for them. It's because you only get 9 arms.
Right. For most people, on your average,
yeah,
for one ticket to do a meet and greet, be it Def Leppard or whatever, we're talking, I don't know, 2 weeks' pay.
Yeah.
A 2-week paycheck.
I would think so, yeah.
For most people.
Yeah, well, it's Def Leppard.
That's ridiculous.
Why wouldn't you work for 80 hours to see Def Leppard?
That's ridiculous.
You wouldn't do that?
No.
You wouldn't work for 120 hours to meet?
No.
No?
I had the good fortune, regardless of how you look at it, to meet Def Leppard.
Okay.
Back in 2003.
Sure.
Well, wait a minute. Let me think back here. No, I met them in 1999, 2000. I met them at the Allstate Arena here in Chicago with Dokken, Def Leppard, and Whitesnake.
Okay, good show.
And it was the New Year's Eve show.
Wow, so those tickets must have been expensive, like $40.
No, they were. Well, I don't know how much they were because I didn't pay for tickets.
Right.
I was a guest of Dawn, but anyway, I did get to meet Joe Elliott, and I did meet Phil Collin.
Okay.
And I did meet David Coverdale.
Mm-hmm.
And basically hung out on New Year's Eve of 99, 2000 when everybody thought the world was going to end because all the computers needed to click over to 2000 from 1999.
Right.
Remember?
Yep, and they all just sort of did.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't pay for those.
Yeah,
And it wasn't a big thrill meeting the guys from Def Leppard either.
That is a chick thing, dude.
It was just like, yeah, nice to meet you.
Don't you think that that's a chick thing to meet?
Absolutely. Now, I haven't heard Joe Elliott in a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
Has his voice improved at all, or do you even know? Because he's been like really ragged.
You are funny. Stinks.
I'm just asking the question. I mean, because I have heard. Well, let me give you an example. Somebody who's not metal.
Okay.
Jason Scheff, the lead singer of the band Chicago.
Okay.
His voice was really getting ragged for a while. He couldn't hit the high notes and stuff anymore.
Okay.
And he went to vocal therapy, vocal coaching, etc.
Okay.
The last time I saw them, he was hitting all the high notes and everything.
Well, here, you want me to play some?
I'm just curious.
This is off the cuff. I have not listened to it. I just did a search for Def Leppard 2014 live.
Okay. Well, where are they playing recently?
This is at the Hard Rock Hotel Live in Las Vegas from 2015.
Okay, so they were playing at the Joint in Las Vegas. Okay, I haven't heard any of this, so go ahead.
Love and Affection.
All right.
Let's hear what he sounds like. Oh, commercials. Jesus fucking Christ. Let's skip that. Skip the commercial. All right, sounds okay so far.
All right, so far so good, but he's singing a lower register, though.
Yeah. Well, let's see when he gets up to the part where he's, let's give me love and affection, because that's like a high part, right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, here we go.
I got the time, babe. You got the need, so surrender it. Oh, it's a passion crime with a danger sign. Can you handle it? Yeah. You're just another girl. I'm just another night. It's just another night. Whoa, yeah. Talking in love.
Is it me or is that horrible?
It's not as bad as I've heard in the past because his voice was really, really gravelly.
Right.
And he actually sounds a little more clean. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not as bad as I've heard it in the past.
Want to try a different song?
Sure, try another one. Try something that you definitely know has a high part.
Rock of Ages?
Rock of Ages. Yeah, try that one. Go ahead.
Let's click that. All right, I know this is radio and you can't see it, but they just did a shot from the fucking stump side of
Rick Allen.
Rick Allen.
Uh-huh.
And he's wearing a shirt and he's got the sleeve closed, but it's closed with a sewed up British flag.
Okay.
And it's sweaty, so it just looks like a chunk of meat.
Oh man. So it's all red and wet looking. Nice.
Just looks like a chunk of meat sitting there. Yuck.
You got something to say. It's starting to burn out. Hey, then fade away. All right, yeah, come on. I'm gonna start a fire. Come on, rise up, gather round, rock this place to the ground. Burn it up, let's go for broke. Watch the night go up in smoke. Rock on, drive me crazy. A no serenade, a fire brigade, the spiral radio. Come on.
All right, that's not horrible.
All right. It sounds like his voice is kind of cleaned up a little bit because there's been times where I've heard him live
Yeah.
and he can't, I mean, his voice is just cracking
Mhm.
and he just can't sing. So he must have been fresh or I don't know. But I think some guys who, have some of those vocal problems, they can actually, get some rehab or go through vocal coaching or whatever.
Right.
I mean, look at Don. I mean, there was a couple years there where he couldn't sing for shit, and that
Unlistenable.
yeah. But he went to a vocal coach that was coaching Jack Russell, and he, of course, he stopped smoking, and
Sure that wasn't a fire marshal?
he stopped smoking and did a few things different, and it cleaned up his vocal ability.
Right.
So there's opportunities out there to rehab your vocals. So it sounds like he may have taken that time to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Might have. You want to hear some Paul Stanley?
Sure. Now there's another guy.
Yeah, because he's
that-
had some vocal problems.
Yeah, he's had some vocal problems and he couldn't hit the high notes.
All right, this is from Australia in 2013.
Okay, a year ago.
Yeah, so let's try this one.
I wanna give it all to you in the darkness. So much I wanna do.
Wow, that's not very good.
No, he's almost like doing spoken word.
All right, well, let's get to the chorus of one of my all-time favorite songs. I hate this song.
I'm surprised they're doing "I Was Made for Loving You" live.
Yeah, that is odd.
That's like a
It's
disco song.
such a shitty song, but well,
Hey, Motorhead likes it.
good for Motorhead, fool. But let's see where he gets to with the chorus.
Everybody sing! I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. I can't get enough of you, baby. Can you get enough of me? I wanna see it in your eyes. Feel that shit. Something drives me by.
Is it me or is that wretched?
That's pretty wretched. Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
Kiss, March 2013, Sydney, 9th and 10th of March. Freaking horrible!
Did you go to that, Tim? Did you go?
Yes.
And
It was so bad.
so
It was
did
so
you
bad.
have buyer's remorse for buying tickets to go see it?
Yeah, I'm never going. I love Kiss. I'm never going to go and watch them again. It was bad.
It was wretched,
My
huh?
God. Oh, dude. And by the way, just while we're on this, I went back to YouTube a couple of weeks ago. I was going to go and visit a friend of mine in a pub, and on the way there, I was listening to Van Halen from same month, actually, March or April last year, and in Sydney, I don't reckon it was that bad. But Paul Stanley is and I love the guy, man. I absolutely love the guy, but my God. And I heard, I mean, you know, and people might think, well, who am I to judge? Because I'm not the best singer in the world, but far out. And I don't know if I've talked about this before. I don't know if you've seen that from Japan. They did that concert, pro shot concert from Tokyo, and he's doing the intro for Heaven's on Fire. I couldn't even recognise the damn song. It just sounded like a... Mate, I've heard cats fuck with more harmony.
And this coming from the guy that it's the greatest thing you ever heard.
What are you talking about?
You. I'm talking about you. Everything that you ever talked about in the past was the greatest thing you ever heard, but for the first time I'm hearing this was horrid.
With all due respect, I was like that when I first came on the show, but you need to go back and listen to some of the shows because there's been lots of stuff that I've said was absolute crap. And, you know, no, but, you know, I don't know. He needs to get some rest or something because, and it's just, like I actually asked him about it on his Twitter.
You asked him about it on his Twitter?
Did he answer?
Yeah, I said, no, I said something because I follow Paul, you know, because I love Paul Stanley, but I said, does it hurt when you sing it, you know, does it actually hurt you when you sing now, you know, because, you know, I'm just a bit worried about your voice or something like that. And of course he didn't respond. But,
did you expect a response, Tim? That's what I want to know. Did you expect a response?
Dude, it was a genuine question.
Well, I'm not questioning the integrity of your question. I was asking you, did you expect a response?
Well, I mean, I was hoping for one because
Paul actually does answer his Twitter, though.
I know that, but it's still funny to think that people were saying, I'm twittering. Look, I'm twittering with Paul Stanley.
So it's like, you know, I wasn't being a dick, you know, but this is the guy, people forget, this is the guy that did Phantom of the Opera. You know, it's just, and apparently he was awesome in that as well.
But that doesn't mean he can sing Heaven's on Fire, you know, 25 years later. Just because he acted in a play.
It wasn't that long ago. It was about 98. Which is not, well, I guess it is a while ago.
Heaven's on Fire came out like in 87, didn't it?
Heaven's on
84.
Fire?
Yeah.
It was on Animalized.
Yeah.
84.
84. So, you know, we're talking 30 years ago.
Well, do you want to hear it? I have it here. The Tokyo show. Tokyo 2013, Heaven's on Fire. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, play it. I want to hear it.
Let's hear it.
Don't go anywhere, Tim.
We need you to help us with this next one. Comes from the album Animalize.
Oh, my God. Ouch! Ow!
I can stop.
I think I stubbed my toe. Ow!
Oh, dude. Oh, it's so bad.
Is the singing bad too?
That's terrible.
Tim, is the singing
terrible.
bad?
How's the
That's
singing on
horrible.
this? It's horrible in this. Play some more.
but-
Play some more,
play
Chris.
some more.
Play some more.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Woo!
Woo!
Only $1,250, and you can see that and meet the band.
Is it worth the money, Tim? Is it worth $1,250?
I didn't pay.
Well, I'm asking you. Would it be worth $1,250 to meet them?
No, I'd rather have my ears raped.
Oh, my.
Oh, dude,
That's awful.
It's just so horrible saying it, but it's God.
So did you feel ripped off after you saw the show, Tim?
No, because really I went there to see Motley, and Motley killed it. You know.
Well,
I mean,
but you said you saw Kiss. Did you feel ripped off after you saw Kiss, and it was like that?
No, I was just really, no, not really, because I mean, it was all about Motley. Those two shows for me, and Kiss was like, yeah, it's cool, it's Kiss and stuff. But I knew that he wasn't good. You know, I mean, and I'm not saying that Vince Neil's perfect either, but Vince Neil can still hit most of the notes, even though he doesn't sing half the words. You know,
He can do most of the notes, but he doesn't sing half the words.
But the ones he does are great.
Yeah, when he chooses to sing, he can hit the notes.
Well, Tim, if you actually go to this meet and greet, if you actually pay the $4,000 and actually get to go, you have got to ask Vince, why do you only sing every third or fourth word? You've got to ask that question.
All right, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. I'll say the classic metal show. I want to know.
Go ahead.
I'd love that. Do you think he's ever been asked that face to face?
Probably.
You think?
Probably.
Feel free to record it, Tim.
But it's yeah, I'll ask that question.
All right, Tim, now go away.
All right, hail and kill.
You want to hear Motley Crue from 2013?
Okay.
Since Tim is, what do you want to hear? Red Hot, Primal Scream, Kickstart, Shout at the Devil.
Okay, I've never heard him do Primal Scream. Well, I can't say I never heard him, but Primal Scream is one of my favorite tunes. So let's just do that one.
All right, you ready?
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Make some fucking noise!
wait a minute, this can't be Motley Crue. He's singing every note and sort of in pitch.
Yeah, but I can't tell what he's singing, though.
Oh, he's just going,
I know, that's the whole thing. He doesn't even sing the words. He just sort of like makes the noise that sounds like the word.
Right.
But does it sound like he's singing the words at all?
Well, let's try a little more.